everybody. Remy here from Therealdealplays. It's been a hot minute, so I felt like, maybe it's time for me to come in here and give you guys a good TRD Chronicles. And I think I got the perfect one in mind because it involves a near-death experience. This is what I would like to call the time I almost died in a car accident. Yeah, because that starts off with nothing but sunshine and rainbows. But let me get into the story. So back a while ago, my mom's boyfriend at the time had recently found out that he had a sister on his father's side. Now, granted, he never knew his father like that, so it would kind of make sense like why he wouldn't have known he had a sister, or he just never kept in contact with her, or nobody ever told him or whatever. But that's not my business. Anyways, finds out he has a sister from his father, on his father's side of the family, and they start talking and whatnot. And she's like, hey, I don't have a place to live at the moment. I'm living with my mom, and my mom's boyfriend at the time was like, yeah, well, you can come live with us. Da 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 da. We won't really have a problem with it, which we didn't at the time. So she comes over and lives with us. Now, if you know me, you know that I'm the type of person where, like, I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, well, I'm not the type of person who just invites people in with open arms, or I'm not the type of person who's just like, oh, well, hey, hey, welcome, how's it going? Like, like, I try to feel that person out to see, like, who you are, what you do. And if I like somebody, like, I'm just gonna be like, okay, cool, you a cool person, right? And if I don't like somebody, I'm just like, you know what, screw it. You're not real. I don't really want to hang around you. You're kind of annoying. So I was throwing this chick out, and she was cool. Had no problem with her. She was pretty cool. I had no problems with her. Now, after a while of her living there, I started noticing things about her that kind of pissed me off. Like, one of the biggest things was she ate off of other people's plates, specifically mine, and I hated that. I hated that for the biggest fact that it's like, why are you eating off my plate when there's a whole pot of the same thing in the kitchen, like whole pot of it. Dinner was just made. Why are you eating off my plate? And I remember one of the biggest times this pissed me off was when my stepfather at the time had bought some crabs and was like, hey, I bought some crabs from this little place, and I didn't really know that I wasn't really feeling them. I bought them at the time, and I was like, I really wanted crabs, but now I'm like, screw it. Which I understood. So, he asked me if I wanted the crabs, and I was like, yeah, I'll take the crabs, no problem. Like, I eat them. Now, before I even begin to eat these crabs, right, I go to the bathroom to go wash my hands, come back, guess who is nibbling on one of the two crabs? It's my mom's boyfriend's sister. Now, for the rest of this video, we're gonna call her Angel, right? Angel is sitting there eating my crab, one of the legs on my crabs. I'm infuriated to the point where I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I don't even want these crabs no more. That turned out well for me because my rage actually saved my own ass. Turns out the guys who sold my mom's boyfriend the crabs, turns out these crabs were bad. How bad were they? Angel woke up the next morning throwing up, stomach hurting, food poisoning from crabs. She saved my ass. But despite that fact, you still ate off my plate. I'm still pissed. So, yeah. Another thing I began to notice about Angel was she didn't respond to situations as an adult, or better yet, she didn't see the situation. She didn't see situations as an adult, but rather as a kid. And what I mean by that is, okay, let's say a fight broke out between two kids. As an adult, you look at that and you're like, oh my goodness, whose kids was it that got into a fight? But as a kid, you're probably like, oh man, there was a fight outside. I can't believe I missed it. That's how she was. The situations like she never seen anything from an adult's point of view. It was always her saying things from a kid's point of view, which is like, okay, you're like 23 years old. I'm gonna need you to put on your big girl pants right now. Like, you kind of gotta. You should probably start acting like an adult, just a wee bit more, right? But yeah, so I'm telling you guys that because like later on in the story, that actually becomes important. So after, I don't know, I want to say like 6 months of her living there, she then started attending a college out here in Maryland, which I had no problem with. So, which I had no problem with because it's like, you know, like you going to college to go get your degree, like, do you? So one day, her college actually is having a basketball game, you know, boys and girls basketball game. And she's like, you know, she asked my cousin, who we're gonna call, we're just gonna call her like, I don't know, we're just gonna call her like Samantha, I guess. I don't know. I think I called another girl Samantha, but screw it. We're calling her Samantha. So she asked my cousin Samantha if she wants to go to the basketball game. Cool, whatever. Then she asks my stepfather's son if he wants to go to the basketball game. Once again, I'm like, whatever. Why am I like, whatever? I don't really partake in sports like that. For the simple fact that it's like, oh well, I can do without it. You know, like I wouldn't really mind. Plus, if both of them are leaving, I can just sit here and play the game. Like, this isn't really doing nothing to me. At the time, I had just gotten the new Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm Generation game. I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna just play that, beat the story on that, and I'm gonna just go ahead and do me. But of course, here goes my mom. She's like, "Oh well, you're asking Samantha and my boyfriend's son if they want to go to the game. We're going to call my mom's boyfriend's son. We're going to call him Cameron." She's like, "Oh, you're asking Samantha and Cameron if they want to go to the game. Did you ever think to ask Remy if he wants to go to the game?" He actually enjoys basketball.
Shut up.
In the back of my head, I'm like, "No, I don't. Don't say things. Don't say things like that, Mom." But in the front of my head, I'm like, "Screw it. She's my mom. I gotta agree with what she says." So, yeah. So, Angel's like, "Oh yeah, well, I can take you guys to I can take all of them to the basketball game. That's no problem. I didn't know he liked basketball." So we go to the basketball game. On on our way there is where the problem ensued. See, so basically what ended up happening was we had come up to this, came up to this intersection, like small intersection. It was like for like a small housing place. So we came over to this intersection. Only places you could go was left, right, and back. All right, so we stop. So we're driving down this intersection, and the light just turned red. The light turned red right after two cars had went past it. So we're sitting there at this intersection. There's not a car on the left of us, on the right of us, or behind us. There's no car. In front of us is like this big chain link fence that's just sitting there, right? And here's the thing. I'll never forget this. Samantha, Angel gets a call on her phone, and you know, she answers the call or whatnot. You know, she's talking on her phone a little bit, and then that's over. Right after the call, she gets a text from somebody. Don't know who the text is from. Don't really care neither. Gets a text on her phone. She starts texting. Instead of just sending like one text like "I'm driving," she decides to have a full-blown conversation over the phone, telling to whoever it is. I don't know if it was some love interest, boyfriend, boss, other student at her college. I don't know who it was. I didn't really care. I was like, screw it. You know, like, can you just tell? In the back of my head, I'm just like, can you just tell them you're driving? That never happened. So, as she's texting, I feel the car jerk forward a little bit. Like, not enough to where I know what's going on, but enough to the point where I'm questioning if this car just jerked forward. And not only is the car jerked forward, and I feel it a little bit, but then I look out my window, And I can see that, like, we're steadily passing a mailbox to this house. This should not be happening if the car is in rest. Not only is this car steadily moving forward, it's gaining speed a little bit. Like, not too much, but just enough to where you now know the car is moving if you're paying attention. And I'm sitting here like, she knows the car is moving, right? Like, Angel knows the car is moving, right? So, car is moving or whatever, and I'm just sitting there like, she knows the car is moving. Like, she has to feel this thing moving. So, the car is moving. It's picking up even more speed now. Then I put two and two together. Angel is so wrapped up in her conversation and her little text that she doesn't realize she's applying pressure to the gas pedal and moving the car steadily forward. This thing is not only picking up speed, but because she's not paying attention, she doesn't know how much, you know, pressure she's pushing on the car to keep it going forward. So as I'm looking around, I'm like, okay, can we not? And then I realized, like, she still isn't looking up. She hasn't looked up yet. The car is moving closer and closer to the chain link fence. Now, over top of this chain link fence, now, you're probably asking yourself, you know, well, Remy, what's on the other side of that chain link fence? I'll tell you what's on the other side of that chain link fence. It's a cliff that leads to, like, this small pond. Now, that doesn't sound too bad, but the fact of the matter is, this isn't a high drop, but it's a big, this isn't like a super high drop, but it's a big drop nonetheless. Like, if this car landed nose, like, head first into this pond, this thing would crush, and the first two people in the front of the car would be dead, but the other two people in the back of the car either being knocked out or dead along with us. So, like I said, after I see, like, there's a cliff on the other side of this, there's, like, no way, at least in my head, I'm like, there is no way we're going to make this. I started looking around, right, and nobody's doing anything, right? Now, I see on my cousin's face, I see on Samantha's face, she looks a little bit worried. This tells me she understands what's going on, too. So, as we get closer and closer, I promise you, give it like 2 to 3 more seconds, we would have went over that chain link fence. I, as like the smartest person in the group now, made an executive decision. So, while Angel was so busy on her phone, I grabbed the steering wheel and forcefully turned it right. This way, the entire car, the wheels of the car would just shift right as she still has it on the pedal. Meaning this car is going to do a quick skirt out before it stops. So the car skirts out, obviously, but it also jerks right. So now everybody has their attention on it. Angel then drops her phone and starts going ham on me, telling me how she was paying attention to the car, that I shouldn't have touched the wheel, I could have got us killed, and in the back of my head, I honestly didn't care, because to me, I made an executive decision. I chose life over death. Guess what? You're not going to be the cause of why my mom now has to attend my funeral at age 13. Not happening. So anyways, that happens, and then, you know, we go to the game, we come back, and my mom's boyfriend at the time calls me in there, and he asks me what happened, because apparently Angel told him what happened, and I let him know. Then he tells Angel, like, hey man, look, I don't find you fit to drive the car no more. Until you prove to be you're more of an adult, you can't do that, and da-da-da-da-da. So basically, long story short, she just was unable to drive anymore until she proved herself a faithful driver and someone who's responsible.